G'day folks, welcome to Billy Metals channel. I'm Toby, and today we're just about to start digging a hole just behind where I'm standing here. This is part 2 of a alluvial prospecting video we did recently, which I'll put a link to just in the screen now. So basically what we did in that video is dug out an old digger's hole there on alluvial ground running down into the alluvial diggings at the bottom of this gully. So we pulled out only 0.3 of a gram out of there, plus a little specimen, so about 0.4 altogether. There's another old timers dig hole there which we didn't dig out, and a reefing hole there, looking for the quartz reef, which we hit but doesn't seem to have any gold in it yet. We'll go down a bit deeper before we come to that conclusion. So, gold coming down the hill here. Swing around slowly so it doesn't give you a headache. Old digging there, old hole. And then there's this gully here that has been completely dug out. So I've got my back facing where we just filmed before. So just near this first hole, I'm going to sink a shaft down there, which, well, shaft, it's only going to be probably a metre and a bit deep. Could be a bit deeper, it's hard to say where the edge of the gutter drop off is here. And hopefully that little run of gold not only continues this side of the old digger's hole and from the bottom of this one, but it gets a lot richer. So we'll start digging and we shall find out. I'll show you what I mean by gutter too. We slide around here. Might not show very well on camera here. You can see where I've tunnelled in a little bit there. So there's a run of gold running down there. Not super rich, but much richer than the ground around it. So being very hard to puddle. Really stiff clay, it's not really worth chasing much, but hopefully here it gets a lot richer. So just a couple of metres away can make all the difference. It's quite patchy ground. So we'll set up this camera on a tripod and get started on digging a hole. Okay, that'll do for a minute. I'll give you a look in this hole. Some interesting looking ground, and I'm just on the depth here that we hit the gold in the last hole just there. Okay, so down the hole, you can see this layer just here is actually mullock from probably the hole just over there, or the gully, which is that way. And then as you go down, you've got soil, a lot more soil in this hole than the ones further up the hill. Grading down into clay, and then really changes colour down there. I'm going to stand up in the hole. There's my shadow. Professional filming at all times here. Swing around to this side. It's my old worn out pick. This side is a lot more gravelly and really red, very similar to the stuff, actually identical to the stuff that I was finding gold in, just in the hole just next to us. So this stuff, still fairly clay, it's starting to get a lot of quartz. Yeah, gravelly, sandy, gritty stuff in there. Don't know whether there's gold in it or not, but there's only one way to find out. I'm going to dig a sample of this out. We shall head back up to the dam, just up this gully, pan it off and see what we can get. Now, a couple of viewers' comments from the last video and various messages from people sent to me. Someone said use a long-handled shovel. Now, that is very handy. You can protect your back with that. I do use long-handled shovels for some holes. These little narrow gutted holes, you can dig these moving minimum ground, minimum amount of volume, another way of saying the smallest hole. Yeah, using a short-handled shovel, you'll get down a lot deeper, a lot quicker, and you can shovel out all your waste pretty quickly and efficiently. You do have to use your legs and be careful with your back more so than with a long-handled shovel. You know, bend your legs, keep your back straight. Probably sound like your mother there, but as long as you do that, you'll find a short-handled shovel is really quick and efficient. So let's get this sample out. We'll head up to the dam and we will see if there's any gold in that stuff. Okay, we'll pan this one off, see what we get. This actually puddled down easier than the stuff in the last hole in part one. It's not bad looking gravel. Very small sample. Have a bit of a look to make sure there's no nuggets and specimens. Spider. See what sort of mineralisation we have in the rock. All pretty much like the other one. There's one with a bit of stibnite, a bit of antimony sulphide in it. Still like to know which reef that's coming from. Nicely broken up. Just to make sure there's no lumps of clay when you're panning. You'll pan out a lot of your gold if there's clay in there. A lot of heavies in this, a lot of ironstone. Good sign. The world's oldest techniques for finding gold. It's still a very, very effective way of prospecting. The old gold pan. Stack of different ways of doing it. I've been doing it like this for about 30 years, I think now. Panning since I was 6 or so, so yeah, 30 something years of panning. Yeah. Do we have gold? No, not looking good. It's alright, we'll go deeper. No. Quite heavily mineralised though, so sample number 1 is a flop. Well, go and dig right down to the bottom and then take a sample off that. Okay, got a bit of shadow happening in here, but this is a hole where I took the sample from. So all this area here I'm going to dig out, and we'll get right down to the bottom, the clay, and then see what's on that. I can't really film and dig at the same time here because it's confined space and the sun's at a really bad angle. So I'll dig that out and then I'll show you what we find. Okay, so I've been puddling with a shovel for quite a while, puddling the clay out. One of our viewers suggested using a paint mixer, a drill operated paint mixer. So I went to a certain well-known hardware shop and spent $14 or so on one of these. Let's give it a go, see how it goes. There, you can see why that's effective. Let's turn that down. That was very, very good advice. It was a brilliant job. Reverse it. So, brilliant advice. Thank you for that that tip. I'll share it with everyone else now. That was a very effective way of puddling. Still plenty of clay in there, but this stuff's really quite stiff. So I'll put some more water in there and keep doing that. It's a lot easier than using that shovel. Okay, so puddle this one down heaps. It's nice loose gravel now. Water in there. Always make sure you wash the bottom of the bucket out. Get every trace of gold out of the bucket, especially when you're sampling, because you don't want to contaminate the next sample. You don't want to lose any gold in this one. Good looking gravel. Panning off the sample here yesterday, and there's a tiger leech latched onto my finger in here. Now, if you don't know what a tiger leech is, if you haven't seen one of them before, have a look through our videos. There's a video called "A Monster in My Dam." They're awful things. Turn that off quickly. A lot of heavies in this. I like it. There's a tiger leech. I don't know if anyone can see that thing. Look at him. I don't know if you can see that. I'm not going to pick it up. They're enormous. Horrible things. They can match under my foot apparently. So yeah, they suck your blood, and they really sting and itch for ages. For those of you that aren't from Australia, the rumours of everything in Australia trying to eat you or kill you aren't entirely true. There are a few creatures that don't try to eat you or suck your blood. That's not one of them. Okay, down to the last little bit. Is there gold? Oh yep, yes there is. Nice. So we've got 2, 3, 4, 5 little bits of gold. Obviously not rich, there's nothing big, but that is a very good sign. So we'll put a trench right through on the bottom there and sample right along it, and see if we've got a bit of a gutter of richer stuff in there. First gold. Okay, so that pan sample we just did came from just there, and in that area. I just panned another one from just in here, and the plan is to come right along this little trench here in the bottom of the hole and sample it all the way along. Now you can see that ground down there appears to be bedrock. You can actually see, if I can get in a bit closer here, you can see there's the clay there and the gravelly stuff there. It's a bit hard to see probably on this, but that's a dividing line there. Now from this spot just here, I did another pan, which I didn't film the whole thing because it's only so much panning that you really want to see on a video. But what I found in this one is really quite nice. Very impressed. Have a look. Get it up right in there. To do this with a hand I don't normally use. Look at that piece of gold. That is a much pick him up one-handed. Much nicer piece of gold than what you normally find in a gold pan. So pretty impressed with that. It's a decent little chunk. It'd be 0.1 to point something of a gram. Could be 0.15. Nice satisfying little plunk. You drop it in. But there's also quite a bit more fairly coarse gold in there as well. See all those little pieces on the top there. So really, really good sign. I'm looking forward to digging a little bit more out here. So I'm going to crowbar a whole lot more of this stuff out. And I might take about a 10 pan or so sample out. I won't show all the panning off, but I'll mix them all up and puddle them up and either run them through the sluice or pan them and just see what we get out of this bottom bit here. Yeah, so we panned off our 10 buckets, which was also 10 pans, because that stuff puddles down to about probably about 40% of its original volume. There's so much clay. That's what came out. Not a lot of gold for that volume of stuff and how hard it was to wash. If it was easy stuff to sluice, you just dig it out, run it through a sluice box, and it would be good, but it's hard digging and it's really, really hard to puddle, so really not worth digging. But that having said, or been said, I shall dig a little bit more out. We'll get rid of that pan carefully, so we don't want to lose that gold. Down here you've got, that's where we started digging. And then the bottom dips down and down and down, and then it comes back up towards where my foot is there. So this ground in here is where the gold run is. You can actually see in here there's a lot more gravel in this stuff here, and yeah, a lot more gravel in this side here than there is in the rest of this hole. I've reset our little panning off area down to this lovely location a bit further down the gully. Not a lot of water in these dams at the moment, it's been pretty dry. Interesting here, you see just up there, that little level spot just up from the dam, that's an old hut site. This dam wall's got broken glass and pottery from the 1850s. Matter of fact, metal detecting around here, we've found musket balls, 58 cal musket balls. I found a silver coin from 1817, I think it was, from memory, just out there. So interesting little bit of history just here. Anyhow, I have an old baby bath set up to pan in, and we have the sample of that clay just here, which has been soaking for ages and it's still pretty clay. There's a bit of gravel in it, but it's not the greatest looking stuff, but we'll see. I'll see if there's any gold in that. So yeah, I moved down here because the horses in the other paddock. I just moved some up there, and it's more convenient to pan down here. I've got a bucket full of the clay off the bottom washed down. That's most of the gravel we got out of it. It was almost all clay, so pan down to not very much. Do we have any gold in it? It's hard to do one. Oh yeah, we do. Look at that. Heaps. Ha. Decent clunky bits too. Okay. Well, that goes to show one should always scrape right down onto the bottom. So there's virtually no quartz in that, but the gold has sunk into what would have been once very soft bedrock, or little crevices in hard bedrock, I don't know. And that's where the clunky gold is. So there you go. It's hard to pan, not hard to pan, it's hard to puddle. But I reckon that's worth it. We're going to clear the rest of the bottom of that hole out and pan off all the bottom stuff. It's a bit exciting. I'd better dig a little bit deeper and take a few samples from another sort of 10 or 15 centimetres down just to make sure. So it's getting windy here. I'm going to go and take a break for the night, and we'll see what we can get tomorrow. Back down the hole. That's our bottom there. I've dug all the stuff off the top down to this layer. You can actually see the edge there. This is the pipe clay stuff with a bit of gravel mixed through. And then this layer here, you've got hard gravel on top of that, full of quartz. See some nice chunks of quartz. I've just given it a metal detect to the SDC 2300 to make sure there's no nuggets in there. And yeah, we'll dig a bit of that out and go and pan it off and see what comes out. I reckon there's actually going to be some reasonable gold heading in that direction. So I'll pan off all of the bottom here. I'll show you the pan also, or at least the end results, rather than boring you with too much panning and panning and panning. But, show you a few results, and we'll see what we can get out of that. Then I'm going to punch this hole another maybe 2 feet deeper, maybe a metre, and then we'll put a little bit of a drift drive in underneath there and follow the gutter. A little bit of timber, just like the old timers did. Panned off, or dug out and panned off the bottom here. That is all the gold that came out of several buckets across the bottom of the hole here. So it's one nice clunky nugget, and a few, quite a bit of nice, coarse, chunky gold. So that came across from this area here, across through here. That's where the majority of the gold actually is. So to show you, looking south here, you can actually see that is the bottom there, and then it dips down there and it goes up there. So this area here is where most of the gold seems to be. There is a bit of a dip here, a bar of bedrock here. There's a quartz reef running through here I've dug a sample out of, very small, it's only about this thick. That would have been the same one that I found in the other video in this area, and then the little gutter seems to continue through here. So I've dug down into the bedrock until there's no alluvial gravel exposed at all here. I'll go down a bit further at some point so I can tunnel, but right now I'm going to take a sample of this out. Gold will be down in this ground here a little bit, so the idea is to dig a chunk of that out. It's going to be good jerky footage. It's hard. Get some of that delicious looking gravel. Get a bit at the bottom as well. Can you see these sort of spots here? This would have been jagged bedrock, like slate sticking up, and then the gravel's made its way down in nooks and crannies over a vast amount of time. There's little nuggets in there. This is actually going up in that direction towards the other hole, which is just that way to the south, a metre or so. The hole I dug in the last video here. Well, that's good looking gravel. Most of the gold though is just in these bottom bits and in the ground just underneath it. This is going to be terribly jerky camera footage, but hopefully worth it. It's well wedged in, that bit of quartz. Bigger chunk. Good looking stone. No gold hanging out of it, but yeah, it's come from a bigger reef than any of the ones that I've uncovered in this little area so far. I'll take a bit of a sample of that and pan that off. Then I'll punch the hole down a bit further. We'll take out this side and then do samples all round and make sure there's no little runs of gold. It could all be just patchy stuff too. It's going to be interesting to see. Actually, if I zip to the surface, it's not very deep, it's only up to my shoulders. That area out there, I'll be very curious. There's no old-timer diggings out there. So might be a third video here, sinking a hole on that. Now, go and clean this stuff up, pan that out, and see what results we get. Since that footage was taken, there has been a whole heap of rain. It's hard to imagine now because it's dry, but it was a little while ago. I kind of stopped digging in here because that hole, which is the first one I dug, I've obviously backfilled, and the current hole that I'm digging, or was digging, they filled up with water. This clay goes really soft and pudgy and awful when they're full of water. So when it's soaked in water, I should say. So I've bailed it out. You can see the water damage in the side where it started to slump in. It's actually quite dangerous when they're wet, this sort of clay. Big chunks will come in and potentially a whole slab will come in, and it doesn't take a lot to seriously damage or kill you. So I've bailed it out, I covered it, and I sat it here for ages while it dried out. I've just taken the cover off, and I think the plan is going to be now, I want to take a sample from there, or down the bottom, and there, punch in a bit further, maybe do 3, 4, 5 buckets in each direction. If there's decent gold, like averages out at decent gold there, I'll pan that off and yeah, sample it all up. If it's decent gold, I will finish this video on whatever we get out of that and then dig that way. So I'm going to take the top off, stand up here, and we'll try to clear these mullikeeps out and then dig out that area and see, because I reckon as it runs down that way it'll run into old-timer diggings, but potentially there could be a lot of decent gold in between. So I won't bore you with all the diggings, there's been plenty of that on this video. But I'll get in there and start clearing that out and digging down to bedrock. Punch in there and get these samples out. I'll show you a bit of the sampling and then we'll do a final pan off for this particular video. See what we got. Yesterday was stinking hot, total fireband day, and yeah, really dry. Last night we got a ton of rain. So everything down there is going to be rather sloppy. Right, so what I've done, I've taken samples out If here you can actually see the dividing line between the bottom and the wash here, but most of the gold is in this layer like that. So I've taken a bucket there, bucket there, bucket there, and then 1, 2, 3, or something along those lines. This orangey clay here is quite interesting. You can see the way the bottom goes right up over the sandstone bar, down into that clay, and then back up here. So I'm a bit curious. I was thinking the lead was running that way, but I reckon it's more heading that way. I'll stand up in this hole. So plan is we'll sample this, and if that's the case, if it's running that way, I'm going to dig that mullikeep away, and I'm going to just expand that hole in that direction, but that will be another video. So we'll go and have a look down at the dam there at the samples. So I've puddled this off. There's a stack of clay in it. You can see as I go around each of those samples, there's different looking gravel, or slightly different looking gravel. So these two came out of that bar. This one was down in the clay, so there's a lot less gravel and a lot more clay, because these are all 3/4 full, these buckets, and after washing all the clay out, that's all that's left. So I'll pan those off. This doesn't have to be very scientific, it's just going to be a general direction kind of thing. See how much, or for that matter if there is any gold in them. So get panning. I won't show you the panning because there's already been plenty of that in the video. You know what that looks like. I'll just show you the end result from running through these. This is the first 2 pans. The wind's getting up, it's going to be a bit noisy. This is going down into the slightly... oh yeah, look, there's gold. I don't know why I'm surprised. Oh, look at that. Look at that. Pretty consistent size there. There's not much fine stuff. There's some nice pieces in there. Ha! Oh, there you go. Happy with that. So that's the first 2 buckets. So the gold definitely goes down into that lower ground. I'll pan off the next few. Very happy. So I was definitely getting less gold as I went around the side of that hole. So the gutter does run in the deeper ground, which is where you would expect it. So total gold reveal for 6 pans. 6 buckets. Oh, that's not bad. Look at that. Didn't do a very good job of getting that into the one spot because it's a little bit difficult with the ironstone. Pretty good. I'm going to get out of this wind. We'll weigh up all the gold together and see just how much came out. That'll about wrap this video up. And the next video on this little spot will be digging out all the side that most of that came from. That's the gold that came out of that hole. Not a huge amount, but not terrible either. Well, I'll pop that lid off. I'm going to have to put the phone down to do that. Ta-da, lid's off. Okay, how much do we have? If it'll come out. Come on. Bigger piece there, kind of bridged across. Oh, not quite a gram. Still a bit in there. Got it. So close to a gram. 0.97. Not bad gold though, is it? Not all gold's good. Look at that. So close to a gram. Oh, should have done one more bucket, shouldn't I? Yeah, that's not terrible out of a hole like that. Bit of work for the amount, but yeah, dig a lot of holes and find a lot less too. And I do feel in that gully there somewhere there's going to be some really good patches. Obviously most of it's been dug out by the old timers, but yeah, I'll follow that little gutter down a bit further. I know which direction to dig now. So there'll be another video on this little spot, and I would say we're going to get a lot more than that. Oh, it's getting heavier. I'd say we're going to get a lot more gold out of that little area there. Fingers crossed there's a really rich patch. Oh, thank you very much for watching, folks. Yeah, getting out and digging like the old timers still pays off. Obviously, if you do that, make sure you fill your holes in. Have a lot of fun, find heaps of gold, and I will be back with plenty more videos very soon.